Hey everyone, Boston Chris here with Katie Lynn for our 6th episode of the Chris and Katie Show. I know you guys have been waiting with bated breath for the next episode, and we have a couple of things that are happening tonight. The first thing is, I have learned in the year 2024 that it does not stop raining in the state of Texas.
Yep, agreed.
So we are working with a noise gate filter on the mic tonight, and hopefully that'll work, and hopefully you can hear me okay throughout the entire episode. But if I kind of go in and out, I apologize. We have to. Oh, by the way, if you are the person out there that is praying for rain, if you could also pray for my bank account, that would be dope.
And just please stop.
Just stop.
Please just stop.
So you guys might see Katie like swiping your screen. She's not trying to touch you or tickle you or anything like that out there. She's just does not have access to her iPad this week. Shame on you, Jackson.
Yeah, it's not even mine, it's his. But it's mine.
It's everything that's his is yours.
It's mine.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
But anyway,
true.
so she's checking her notes on her phone, and that's why she's swiping. What was it on Dora? Swiper, no swiping?
Yeah.
So we're going to get started with the first thing, and that is always have to pay the bills first. I got to thank HyperX for sponsoring us this week. Again, if you are an individual or a business out there and you would like to sponsor an episode or more of the Chris and Katie Show, you can contact us at thechrisandkatieshow@gmail.com, all spelled out. If you would like to support us as a viewer, head on over to our YouTube channel. You might be watching this on YouTube. Just hit that join button down there. For $2.99 a month, you will be helping us a lot, and you will get instant access to everything we do, almost when we do it. Kind of creepy, to be fair.
Basically.
It is pretty creepy. But with that out of the way, Katie, how have you been doing?
I'm great. How are you?
It's good to see your smiling face again this week. For the second time. That's right.
No, it's a different week.
It does. I guess it is considered a different week. Well, that's kind of.
Well, it was a few days ago, y'all. Just a few days ago.
Just a
where
few
I got
days.
to see his beautiful, gorgeous face.
It was a badass show, by the way. Badass show. I had fun.
Ryan's pretty killer.
It's a little weird not being able to buy food from the restaurant and bring it out to the picnic tables.
They didn't let you?
No, we wanted to buy like $20 steaks for everybody, and Toby was like going up there, and they were like, "No, sir, you have to eat it inside." And he was like, "Well, what if I buy it to go?" And they're like, "No, we can't sell it to you if we know you're gonna eat it out there." Yeah, but if we bought appetizers, it was perfectly fine.
Huh?
Yeah.
They don't want their plates out there. Well, because that'll make sense with to go.
I didn't quite understand, but I guess they have a process, and it is what it is. But other than that, I thought the venue was really cool. My first time
I love that place.
That was pretty cool.
Fun stuff.
So that was fun. Now, I'll tell you what is not fun, and that is dying. Katie, that's called a segue.
Dang it, I wore that shirt last week, though it said everybody croaks.
See, this would have been perfect.
I know. It's funny, I was wearing it earlier and I changed because I knew I wore it last week.
Well, we are going to talk about the people that are famous who are no longer with us from the last time. That's right, from the last time we recorded. This is sad. And most of the people who passed away that are well known this week lived a full life, but not all of them. So I wanted to discuss some of these. Some of these we'll talk about perhaps a little more in depth, and I'm going to, as always, pause a little bit after each one and let Katie commentate if she would like to. First one on we're doing May 28th to June 3rd, and we actually had a kind of a big name pass away earlier this afternoon on June 3rd that we'll talk about. Katie, you probably don't know who he is, but a lot of the sports fans out there will know who I'm talking about. But anyway, first one, May 28th, the only person of note that I could find on May 28th that didn't have 45 syllables in their last name, meaning they're not from America, was Butch Johnson, who was an Olympic champion archer. He was 68 years old, passed away on May 28th.
That's pretty dope. Not that.
Wow.
Nick,
So.
I mean, being a archer, that sounds super
Oh,
fun.
well, I mean, being an archer is probably fun. Being a dead archer, not so much.
Probably not.
No.
How did he die? Do we
It,
know?
it did not say, but it was not self-inflicted from what I could tell.
Okay,
I
that's
would
good.
I would imagine a self-inflicted arrow shot would probably be kind of difficult to pull off. Like you'd have to shoot it into the air and then like run under it or something. I don't know. Maybe we'll cosplay that someday. I don't know. Perhaps.
Deal.
So the next one, I've been trying all week to figure out how to say this, and of course, as y'all
Don't
know,
ask me.
if you guys watched last week, I struggled to say ballpoint pen. So this one's going to be really difficult. The person's name is Cayuch. And this person was 75 years old. They died of cancer. They are or were a Canadian singer-songwriter. Passed away on May 29th. Bob Rogers, who is an Australian DJ and radio host, very well known in Australia, apparently, passed away at the age of 97 on May 29th as well.
That's 97, man. That's
Yeah.
that's a long time.
And a lot of these folks were around for a little while, for sure. Dorothy Ross, who is an American historian, passed away also on May 29th, and she was 87 years old.
Man, that just sounds so cool. All these people are so much cooler than I'll ever be.
Well, that's the thing, right? We
Historian.
have to try to get into the celebrity death obituaries
Right.
before we actually pull the plug, right? Jack Venza, who was an American TV producer, passed away on May 29th at the age of 97.
Again, 97.
Can you imagine? Let's talk about this because we got two different people here who passed away at 97. Can you imagine, like, at some point in your life, I imagine 100 would be the goal, right? Like, when does that happen? Probably around 85, 86, you're probably starting to see that century mark.
Yeah.
And then you get to 97 and it stops, and it's like, dude, what the heck?
You
Like, what? 3
honestly,
years, bro.
that's gonna be me. I know it's gonna be me. I'm sitting here laughing. It's some karma. It's
Ah,
gonna be me.
man.
It's gonna be me.
I'm 47, so that's 50 years from now for me. Like that, I hope not. Right? Like, I can't imagine what there would be to do in your 90s.
I got 77.
I mean, I'd be sitting in my nursing home in my recliner just swiping TikTok at 97. You know, no teeth,
Man,
eating pea mash.
you won't have
Anyways,
to swap with nothing. I
we're going to get
bet.
back on track here, Katie. There's a lot of
Yep,
folks
yep, yep, yep,
passed
yep.
away this week. Mitchell Block, who was a film producer for such movies like Big Mama and Poster Girl and The Testimony, passed away May 30th at the age of 73.
Getting on up there.
Doug Dagger, who was an American punk rock singer for the band The Generators, passed away at the age of 56 of cancer.
I need to go check them out. I'm a big, rock gal, big punk
Yeah, you
rock gal.
should. They're called The Generators. He passed away on May 30th. Let's see here. Drew Gordon, who is a former NBA basketball player, passed away at the age of 33 in a car crash on May 30th.
It's so awful.
That's a little bit of a different feeling than the 97, isn't it?
I mean, and it's so tragic too.
Yep.
And so sudden.
Let's see here. I'm gonna own this name. You ready, Katie?
You got it.
Yuka Motohashi.
Hey.
That's right. We have Japanese listeners, so I have to do these correctly. That's a true story, by the way. 46 years old Japanese actress passed away at the age of 46 of cancer. Again, cancer's taken a lot of folks. May 31st. This next one might be the only one that me and Katie will celebrate.
I'm already ready.
She's ready to celebrate it. Robert Pickton, who was a notable, infamous Canadian serial killer, died at the age of 74 when he was shanked in prison.
Dang.
on May
I
31st.
Man, if that ain't karma, I don't know what it is.
I wonder, when I hear like shanked, I wonder if it was a toothbrush handle. That's the first thing I go to. But again, Orange is the New Black is the show. If I'm just saying.
I love that show.
Oh my God, they need to come out with new ones.
Yeah, they really do.
They're not gonna.
They'll probably do
though.
it in like 20 years.
Yeah, probably. When I'm eating my pea mash. Let's see here. Martin Starger, 92, again, another one in his 90s. He was an American entertainment executive and film producer. He produced movies such as Sophie's Choice and The Mask. Both
That's
phenomenal movies, by the way, if you haven't seen either one.
I haven't seen Sophie's Choice, but I've seen Mask.
Yeah, Mask was the one with Cher in it, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
Remember.
Wow,
Maybe.
Katie, you're the young one here. You're supposed to keep me honest here.
I may be young, but I'm not spry anymore.
Okay, spry is such a different word. All right, Marion Robinson, American secretary, passed away at the age of 86. She is notable because she was Michelle Obama's mother. Passed away on May 31st.
That's sad.
Eric Anderson, who was an American actor known for Friday the 13th, Bat 21, and Unfaithful. Passed away of cancer at the age of 67 on June 1st.
See, that's a cool dude right there.
Yeah, that's a nice lineup of movies right there.
Yeah.
Ed Mann, who was an American drummer and keyboardist for the legendary Frank Zappa, passed away at the age of 70 on June 1st. Frank Zappa is one of those folks. He's out there,
absolutely.
and I don't know. I don't know if Frank Zappa's music is drug induced or not, but I would wager a guess as it being more likely than not.
I would bet
it. Colin Gibb, who was a British musician for the band Black Lace, passed away on June 2nd at the age of 70. We got two more. This is the one that happened. I guess he passed away yesterday, but we learned about it this afternoon. Larry Allen, who is a Cowboys legend and NFL Hall of Famer, passed away yesterday, June 2nd, at the age of 52, suddenly while on vacation in Mexico.
Suddenly? Is that all it says? Just suddenly?
Yeah, so there's no cause of death yet, but when I hear suddenly, I immediately go to heart attack.
That's what I immediately
like heart attack is the usual cause of that. Stroke too, yeah, but typically when you hear suddenly, that's usually like a widowmaker, you know what I mean, situation.
Yeah.
And the last one, which I just heard about today, I don't even know if this is out there yet. But Brother Marquis, who was a rapper in the group 2 Live Crew, passed away today at the age of 58. No cause of death given as of press time or recording time. Katie, did you know that if we dug a hole all the way through the planet, let's say we just started digging, right? And we were on...
Sorry, I was going to say to bury our burial, but go ahead.
No, so what we would do is instead of using water to brew our coffee, we would put Red Bull in there.
Okay.
And then we would start digging. That way we would get to the other side of the earth very quickly. Because I once did that. I put Red Bull in instead of water to brew my coffee. And I'm here to tell you, I got halfway to work before I realized I'd left my car at home.
Oh.
Anyway, back to the did you know. So if we dug this hole all the way through, did you know if we jumped into the hole, it would take 19 minutes to fall to the center of the earth?
That's pretty nuts.
And a total of 42 minutes to go all the way to the other side.
That's how long it takes me to get most places.
So I want you to think of this now, Katie. When you're in the bathroom and you're doing your makeup and getting ready for a date or you're going out to a nice dinner, and it takes you 45 minutes to get ready. You
Good
could have
God.
fallen all the way through the entire planet in that time.
Okay, so wait, here's the question. When you fall through the planet, where do I go?
You
Through it?
Yeah, you go. It depends on where we dig the hole. To be fair, because like if we just dug the hole like cattywonked, I guess that's I don't know if that's a word or not, but like
Cattywampus.
okay, we'll go with that one.
But I'm thinking like I could like go on vacation. Like we're having a day in Asia, babe.
Well, you just start digging again. It's all about the Red Bull in lieu of water when you brew your coffee. That's the secret to this plan.
Got it.
Otherwise, you
I'll
got to
work on
hire a construction crew, and that can get expensive.
Man, you give me on some coffee and Red Bull and give me a shovel, I will get to work.
Me too. All of my cares and worries will be long gone, especially if like you add like vodka or tequila or something to it as well.
Sure.
Ooh, can you imagine spiked Red Bull coffee? Oh my God. We'd be in a world of trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
why the Department of Labor hasn't figured this out yet. Like, we could literally have 15-hour work weeks and just take the rest of the time off.
Man, if they just like supplied them,
Yeah.
like Red Bulls.
And I'm sure they're perfectly healthy, too.
Oh, yeah. I hear they're great to give your baby in the bottle.
All right. I don't know how to segue that into National Days of Celebration, but we'll try. Anyway, so the first one we're going to get into are the weird things that Americans celebrate, and some of these are global this week.
Like
The first one is a global celebration. It's obviously Pride Month, and I want to say Happy Pride to all of my friends out there that do celebrate it, which is quite a lot. I'm glad that you exist.
Happy Pride.
So happy Pride to everybody. June 14th, we have an interesting array of things that Americans celebrate. First, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. It is the U.S. Army's birthday on June 14th.
That's pretty awesome.
I don't know how old they are. I guess I could look that up. I guess I could have, put that as part of the notes. But, we're not always prepared. So... June 14th, 1775 is when the U.S. Army was born, and that would require math, so I'm not going to do that. So it's really old. Well, here's what we could do, right? So I was born in 76, and I am 47.
No.
So let's add a year. That would be 48, and then we would add the 200 years between 1700 and 1900, so that means it's 248. That's how I do math.
See, I was doing it like, okay, so, wait, did you say 1775?
Mm-hmm.
So 75, that's 25. It's year 24, so that's 49. So you were off by a number.
Okay, so that's because my birthday's in December. That's not my fault.
Oh, well.
No, it's not my fault. All right, let's get into the things that actually matter. I'm getting a cramp in my thigh, okay? This is not good.
We're just trying to do math, okay?
Oh, that actually hurts.
Makes my entire body
All right,
hurt.
I'm going to get some water. That'll probably fix it.
Yep. Probably.
Every once in a while, my body wants to remind me that I have muscles in places where I forgot I have muscles. All right, let's get into the important ones here. That's not to say that the U.S. Army and Pride is not important, because they are. But I mean, June 14th is National Cucumber Day, and let's be honest with each other here. Without cucumbers, we don't have pickles.
Man, I'm about some freaking cucumbers.
Okay, so I can't get the water open. Golly,
he's gonna die. We're gonna join the list.
No joining the list. I'm not celebrity enough. I still have work to do.
Me neither.
Here we go. National Cucumber Day brings me to a natural progression into National New Mexico Day. I don't think they grow cucumbers there. I really don't. Have you been to New Mexico, Katie?
I have not.
I have.
And
There's not much there.
I
I'm
would
just
assume.
keeping it real, okay? Look, New Mexicans out there, you would agree with me. There's not much there.
I
There's
would assume
not.
so. That's what I think of. Is like desert.
So the first time I ever saw a tumbleweed, it was in New Mexico. That's a true story. June 14th, if you don't like cucumbers, you don't like New Mexico, it's all good because it's National Bourbon Day, and we can all get behind that. We can all get behind that.
Yeah.
But it's also, because when you think about bourbon, what is the best chaser after having a shot of bourbon? Everybody out there is probably thinking cheesecake, but you would be wrong. It's actually strawberry shortcake day.
Man, you know what? Cheesecake's great and all, but man, you give me strawberry shortcake.
So where do you go? Do you go with the cucumbers? Do you go with the strawberry shortcake?
Okay, here's what you do. You start off the day, you have breakfast, you eat cucumbers. Okay. And then throughout the day, you eat you some strawberry shortcake and drink some bourbon. Heck yeah.
And
But you start off
don't forget to praise the army while you're doing that and all those New Mexicans out there.
and the next one,
I'm looking at the, oh my God. So we're going
that
to
and then
June
bourbon.
15th. But they're on different days though, Katie. That doesn't count. So June 15th is Foam Party Day. So make sure you get your foam partying on, guys. And if you actually have some bourbon left over from the day before, this would be the perfect
it can be a
opportunity.
bourbon party. You start it late at like 10 o'clock, and then at like midnight you swap, and you're
Yep.
already
And
drunk and everything.
the
From the
good
bourbon,
news
and then
would be is if that's the case and you stayed up all day on the 15th, drinking bourbon, having a foam party, by the time you went to bed at night, you would be seeing megalodons.
You'd probably be thinking you're getting eaten by one.
Is that National Megalodon Day? What is
You're in the
this?
foam and you think you're in the ocean.
I saw a megalodon in that foam.
When it was just your foot.
Right? I think that's what happened. Somebody drank too much bourbon the day before and they were like, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to celebrate me some megalodons. June 16th is Father's Day. And so happy Father's Day to all the dads out there and the single moms. I got to give them some props as well for those that are both mom and dad to the children. And the best thing to do to any father on Father's Day is to bring him some fudge.
That's actually valid. That's the best one we had yet.
Yeah, because it is also National Fudge Day, and I'm a little bit upset about this. I would like to send in my complaint to the editor because I have been a father since 1995, and it is now 2024, and that's 29 years that I have missed out on fudge. I don't like the fact that I'm just learning about this now that I'm a diabetic, is what I'm saying. I feel cheated.
I'll eat it for you. Don't worry about it. I'll find some.
We're going to need some sugar-free fudge prompto. Yeah, that's a word. All right, let's move to June 17th. We got what, 4 more days, and June 17th we are gonna have a diabetic coma on June 17th. I'm here to tell you because golly, it is National Cherry Tart Day. It is National Apple Strudel Day. It's National Root Beer Day. And then somebody was like, you know what?
Eat
your vegetables day too, because by God. You know what? You can't have the cherry tart, apple strudel, and root beer because you're supposed to eat your vegetables. Like, no, what? Pick your own day, vegetables. Pick a different day, vegetables. And I would be remiss because it's also National Mascot Day.
I'm kind of about all the foods, including the vegetables, and I can get, in a furry
Yeah,
suit.
but we're talking about bipolarness here. Cherry tart, apple strudel, root beer, vegetables.
There's 24 hours in a day.
I mean, this is like when I go to Burger King and order like 4 combos and then a Diet Coke. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
it's
a
just,
munchie meal you get at Taco Bell.
yeah, no. Like, the Diet Coke's not having any function whatsoever. You get 2,100 calories in your dinner. The Diet Coke's not going to help.
It makes my brain think it helps.
Oh, but I'm avoiding the sugar. No, doesn't work that way. All right. June 18th is a day that I can get behind.
Me too.
June 18th is Wanna Get Away Day.
Heck yeah.
If I was not clear enough earlier about the rain here in Texas, Wanna Get Away Day probably will involve something with flippers at this point.
That's what I was gonna say.
Golly.
Man, I would do.
Did you just yawn in my podcast?
Excuse the hell out of you. My mama just came out, didn't it?
Let's go. I love it. I love it. That's going on TikTok. All right. I'm starting to say, like, my yard's starting to look like the setting for a frickin' Tom Hanks movie. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I'm going to start talking to volleyballs and shit out there.
I'm already doing that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And it's also National Splurge Day.
That's not good for Kadie.
Just let Jackson know.
No, he's gonna wake up in the morning. I'm gonna be gone.
So what you do? Well, it is Wanna Get Away Day, so I mean, at least
I'm gonna go shopping.
Yeah. Well, lucky for him, it's also Go Fishing Day, so you can go splurge and he can go fishing. And fair enough, there's like 400 more water everywhere.
He can have a getaway to fish, and I can have a getaway to splurge.
That's right. It's the perfect day for relationships.
Heck yeah.
Yep. June 19th, World Sauntering Day.
I don't even know what that word means.
Well, you had all week to look it up, Kadie. So did I, but I'm doing it right now. Hold on. Because I'm not sure either. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Sauntering means to walk with a leisurely gait or stroll.
So you got that pimp walk.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what you should do is probably eat a gummy and then do that shit. Start doing like the Johnny Depp walk. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, we learned what sauntering is. So, and that the whole world is celebrating that on June 19th, World Sauntering Day. June 19th is also Juneteenth. And this is what I'm going to talk about a little bit more before we get into the rest of these, because I do want people out there who may not know what Juneteenth means to know what Juneteenth means. Juneteenth, which is officially called Juneteenth National Independence Day, is now a federal holiday in the United States. It's celebrated annually on June 19th to commemorate the ending of slavery. The holiday's name is a portmanteau of the words June and 19th, as it was on June 19th, 1865, when Major General Gordon Granger ordered the final enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation in Texas at the end of the American Civil War. Early celebrations date back to 1856, at first involving church-centered community gatherings in the state of Texas. They spread across the South amongst the newly freed African American slaves and their descendants, and became more commercialized in the 20s and 30s, often centering on a food festival. Now, participants in this great migration brought these celebrations to the rest of the country. And during the civil rights movement of the 1960s, these celebrations were eclipsed by nonviolent determination to achieve civil rights, but grew in popularity again in the 70s with a focus on African American freedom and African American arts. Beginning with Texas by proclamation in 1938 and by legislation in 1979, every single U.S. state and the District of Columbia has formally recognized the holiday in some way or fashion. The day was recognized as a federal holiday in 2021 when President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law. Juneteenth became the first new federal holiday since Martin Luther King Day was adopted in 1983.
That's pretty cool.
We went 38 years between having new federal holidays signed into law.
That's crazy.
I will personally be celebrating Juneteenth because it is damn sure a day of celebration for sure.
Absolutely.
Just like the entire month of June is a celebration. And honestly, I hope everybody will look into it and learn more about Juneteenth because, man, I'll tell you what, a lot of folks have gone through some sacrificing to get it recognized. So,
absolutely.
If you do celebrate Juneteenth like I do, I appreciate you. I'm thinking of you on that day. Not to diminish Juneteenth in any way, shape, or form, but it is also Garfield the Cat Day on June 19th. And that is kind of important if you are a lasagna fan, I think.
I didn't think about it like that.
That's right. Well, you got to remember, us Americans, all we think about is food, and we're not eating Garfield the cat because I'm sure whoever draws him will probably not appreciate that.
What I was thinking is, I'm eating that much, I'm going to look like that fat cat.
I mean, as much tattoos as you're putting on yourself, yeah, probably eventually, right? You just start putting like the little tiger stripes everywhere. You know,
see, I'm kind of cat.
Probably won't work. June 20th is the last day of the week that we are celebrating on this episode. Next week we'll start with June 21st. June 20th is Hike with a Geek Day.
Let's go.
And I am totally available if you're looking for one. But if you're wanting to hike with this geek, you're going to need some kind of motorized transport from me. Because I've been eating all week, as you can tell from this list right here. I mean, I've had cucumbers and bourbon and strawberry shortcake and fudge and cherry tarts and apple strudel and eat my vegetables and root beer. And I went fishing and I had Garfield the Cat's lasagna. I had
and I sauntered.
You had what?
And I sauntered.
I sauntered over to the Megalodon steak. Anyway, it is Hike with a Geek Day. So take that opportunity and go hiking with a geek today on June 20th. And it is also National Ice Cream Soda Day. And
ice cream soda. Are we talking about like ice cream and soda or ice cream flavored soda? Because I have not had so.
So that I've never heard of ice cream flavored soda.
Well, I want to know.
Well, I don't think it exists, Katie. I mean,
know. Well, I'm going to make it a thing just for that day.
You let me know how that turns out for you.
Ice cream soda. That's exactly how that sounds.
No. So the way it works is you have soda and then you dump ice cream into the soda.
Yeah. But that's a float.
It's still ice cream soda. It's just
ice
a
cream
float.
And something.
Okay, look, it doesn't say anything about floats. And I'm here to tell you that somebody got jealous when this shit went down. They were like, yo, ice cream soda got a day. And I'm talking about vanilla milkshakes here. They saw this going down and they were like, wait, this ain't fair. Now, I'm a little concerned about the placement of these days because you would think it would be better served. See what I did there? Served. It would be better served if they would split up the days. I don't want to have an ice cream soda and a vanilla milkshake on the same day.
I beg to differ.
Well, you're not diabetic, Katie. You're just not.
That is valid.
Last but not least, we got June 20th as the National American Eagle Day. And I thought we already did this in July, but apparently not. I don't know if they're talking. I'm assuming they're talking about the bald eagle and not the clothing company, American Eagle. I think it's probably the bald eagle. But that's what we're celebrating this week, guys. Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Father's Day. Happy Pride Month. And happy diabetic colon.
Everything else.
That's right. So we are getting into our topics now. Where are we at? Okay, that took a little time. That's all right. You guys are with us.
There was a lot of the days.
Tell you what, the cramp didn't help. I'm just going to throw that out there. But the water's good. So we're going to talk about the folklore of Chris and Kadie.
Man, yeah.
So where did we meet, Kadie Lynn?
We met at the back porch, right?
That's right, we did. Kilgore, Texas. And somebody thought it would be a good idea for me to start a podcast. Nathan Honeycutt. And you were going through the motions with America's Got Talent at the time. And you were performing at Porch Fest, I think, was going on that weekend.
Yeah.
And we thought it would be fun to interview Kadie and her drummer at the time under an oak tree at Porch Fest. Yeah. With nothing but a cell phone between us. And that interview is located out there. In fact, I'll put it right over there somewhere, upper right. We'll put that interview up there if you guys want to watch it. And that was in 2017, I believe.
2016.
2015. It was 2015.
Are you?
I'm going to double check because we want to be correct on this.
I know I had my first audition in February of 2016. Ooh. But that's all I got. I don't remember when that show was.
You're correct. So the first episode of ETX Rocks went out on June 1st, 2016. So
I thought I was going to sneeze.
No, so there's no yawning and no sneezing allowed on this show. We've already talked about this. So from there, it was an interesting interview because I wasn't really allowed to ask you damn near anything.
I know. The best first interview
it's
ever.
Probably the first time I ever had a lawyer present.
My mother.
So it is a true story that my relationship with Kadie Lynn started under an oak tree in Kilgore, Texas. Yeah. And you can't start any better lore than that, I don't think.
That is true. Or song.
Why can't I open this water? I've already drank from you. What is wrong with this?
I think it might be an operator error, my dude.
Nope, it is not a skill issue whatsoever. So the folklore starts under an oak tree at Porch Fest. And, of course, Kadie grew up in a town called Kemp.
Yep.
And I did not grow up in a town called Kemp. I was living in a town called Longview, which is a few hours from Kemp. I think it's 2 or 3 hours. So it's not like we saw each other every weekend because of distance. But we stayed in there was definitely chemistry formed somehow between an old man and a 12-year-old under an oak tree. I know that sounds creepy, but it's really not. It's really, truly not.
Huh? I'm going to start calling you my weird uncle.
No, absolutely not. It's funny, to fast forward through all the folklore a little bit, I ended up being called Uncle Botch for a while from Kadie.
Weird Uncle Botch.
which is just Boston Chris, the first 2 letters of each one, Botch. And I
kind of like that, though.
I used to tell you, please make sure you pronounce the O, because I don't want Uncle, that wouldn't be nice. But from there, we were co-hosts of the ETX Music Awards together. I interviewed you again when you came back from AGT, and you were allowed to say things.
Yeah,
you're definitely allowed to say more now, and we'll get into that on a future episode, which is going to be fun.
That would be fun.
We'll talk more in depth about the AGT experience if you're down for it.
I'm down.
And so we'll do that.
Y'all let us know if y'all want to hear it.
But then, so episode 1 was during AGT. Episode 30, this is all on the ETX Rock Show. Episode 30 was post. It was post AGT, and then
was it after everything?
It was.
Or was it was?
Yes. So
I don't know
June.
why I thought it was like in the. I don't know. Maybe I'm just delusional.
So the second time I interviewed you was in September. Well, at least the podcast went out in
Yeah.
September of
So it was
2016.
over like the beginning of September. So probably so.
Okay. And then in March of 2017, in the 111th episode of the ETX Rock Show, you interviewed me. And
Yep.
that was a freaking blast. I remember that at Malden's studio. Man, was that fun, man. I had a lot of fun that day.
Remember, because you'd interviewed me like twice since then, and I'd seen all your other stuff, and I'd seen you and like my favorite peoples and stuff, and I was just like, I sat down, I was like, oh shit, what, what?
So what she's saying is if we were on MySpace, I would have been her number one friend. That's what she's saying.
Probably, yeah.
Even over Tom. He has no idea what I'm talking about. She'll be Googling
No.
MySpace later.
No, I know about it. It was just before I was allowed to be on the internet.
And then I don't even have a. I don't have. Oh wait, December 11th. So, we went from June of 2016 to September of 2016 to March of 2017, and then December of 2017 we had you over for another interview, and you were my. Actually, I think Louise interviewed you for that one. You were the first episode of my third season of that show. Yeah, she did host that.
Yep.
And Simon Young co-hosted that, if you remember.
Yep, I remember that.
And that was a lot of fun listening to you guys jam after that. That was cool as shit.
That was fun.
But yeah.
I haven't heard from him or seen him in a while. Hope he's doing good.
Yeah, he is. He's on TikTok, Young Simon. I think it's at Young Simon. I'll check him out.
Ticky tock.
He's badass. Very, very talented young guy. I hope he's doing well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so we did all of those things together. Then we did other things together. Gladewater Opry. We did the ETX Music's Got Talent, which I think you judged that, right? I was MC and you were judged for that one.
I don't know what is happening right now with my stuff. Anyway.
But you were a judge for that, right? It was you. I think Meredith Crawford was a judge, and maybe Chad Malden. I don't remember. I'm horrible.
I don't think it was Meredith. Maybe it was, and I swear to God, I remembered it being people I didn't know or didn't know good.
Yeah.
And I would say, Bob and Meredith I know decently well, but I don't remember who are the other judges.
I don't remember exactly because we did so many of those judging type shows. We did that one, and then I did a different one at Meredith was one of the was one of the judges.
Maybe I just didn't know her at the time.
I don't know who the other judges were, but yeah, Meredith was definitely there. But anyway, it doesn't matter who the judges were. I think you judged and I emceed, though, that night.
I think so.
That was a night filled with talent as well. And then fast forward and Kadie became an adult. Crazy stuff. And then she went crazy on us, right?
I just started looking at it.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of crazy, we're going to talk about the most influential people in music, according to me and Kadie. I don't know how much you've looked into this, Kadie.
Okay. Obviously, I agree. We know which ones I super agree with and mildly agree with. I have my own. If that's what you're asking.
Yeah, who do you think were or are the most influential people in the music realm?
Well, I'm stealing one of yours. Lennon and McCartney, the Beatles. That's huge. Huge. I feel like in the rock world, Metallica for sure made a big difference. Big difference. If we're talking about my world, are we talking about my world or world in
just music in general? Anybody that's blazed the trail.
I think Metallica was a huge part in everything, really. But like I feel like they influenced the world, but especially rock music and
Mm-hmm.
how it progressed for sure. Um, Man, I had them down and I lost my notes.
See, one of mine is
uh,
actually metal related as well. They were actually, in my opinion, a precursor to Metallica.
okay, who are you about to say?
The Abbott brothers, man.
Oh,
Vinny and Dimebag. I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely. I was gonna say
Pantera.
Pantera, but that
Yeah.
gets a little too into my realm. I didn't know if we're
But,
talking
I
like
mean,
Beatles are like everybody's realm.
yeah, but
I agree on Pantera.
Pantera were
They
extremely
paved
influential.
my they paved my entire world.
Yeah, I mean,
My
not
world of
just.
metal.
I mean, just think of the influence, not just musically, but just in general when it comes to stage performances. Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, they changed the world when it comes to what you do on
Abs.
stage. You know what I mean?
Have you seen there's one video on YouTube and it's them playing I think in Germany, and man,
Hmm.
it's wild. And
Crazy
that was they
stuff.
had like police there and
Mhm.
everything, and man, they were just getting
How about here's a name that I don't think gets too much credit for trailblazing: Janis Joplin.
yeah, I do agree she gets forgotten about a lot, a lot, a lot.
I mean,
She's a good
Janis Joplin
stylist.
came along and just said, "You know what? I might be female, but I don't give a shit about your stereotypes."
And
Like,
stylistic purposes, she
yeah.
influences a lot of people. A lot of people.
Hmm. I don't know why I didn't
I
think
feel
of
like
that one.
Amy
That's not
Winehouse.
even in my notes here. Amy Winehouse is a great addition. I love that. Why?
That
Why do you
just made
think?
me think about her a little bit. I mean, man, just her as a whole. She was just such a badass all the way
Hmm.
around. Her fashion, bringing back, like the hair, the makeup. She brought the cat eye all day long.
Hmm.
But like, not just that, her voice and really that kind of music. I feel like it brought a new subgenre, I guess, like the bluesy kind of thing, but it was also like a little poppy here and
Hmm.
there. Like there's so much going on. I feel like that, you know, I feel like Amy Winehouse can play into a lot of different, like
Well, I
not
mean,
just
you
music,
can
but
hear her influence in so many different songs nowadays that, like, the way she changed the way things sound.
hmm
Um, I love the fact that she could go incredibly off the deep end one week, and then the next week she's sharing stages with Tony Bennett. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
the talent needed to pull that off is just ridiculous. Somebody who doesn't get enough credit again, and we talked Janis Joplin. Elvis Presley gets all the credit in the world for creating rock and roll, but let's be real here. Chuck Berry is the father of rock and roll music. In my opinion, Chuck Berry, if it's not for Chuck Berry, there is no such thing as rock and roll.
Okay, you're gonna want to hit me. I agree to what I know.
So you're just gonna have to know more then. You're gonna have to check out
Yeah.
some Chuck Berry because Chuck Berry was doing Chuck Berry things before Elvis was doing Elvis things.
I got all of that, and I know the gist, but I haven't like sat down and listened. You know
Right.
what I mean?
And for me, I mean, I know for a fact that Elvis himself credits Chuck Berry for all of that. So when Elvis is giving credit to Chuck Berry for blazing trails, then you know that that's some serious stuff. How about Tupac?
I agree on that. Snoopy, Snoopy,
25
Snoop.
years old, Tupac changed so much in his time.
hmm
Man,
For
what a
sure.
loss. What a loss.
And I just thought about one and I forgot. Oh, we can't forget Freddie Mercury
Hmm.
in more
Good
ways
one.
than just music.
Yeah. And
I
of
mean,
course, there's a million other people behind the scenes, between writers and engineers and producers and session musicians. I mean, there's legends in all of those. And we could go on for literal hours
mhm.
on the hundreds and thousands of people that have shaped music in some form or fashion. I mean, let's give it real. Phineas is shaping and changing the way music is consumed today.
Absolutely. And we talked about a lot of old, but Phineas and Billie Eilish, big time. And
Hmm.
you put Taylor Swift. I agree with that too.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of a. I mean, Chester Bennington came around and
Wow.
f some stuff up.
Yep.
I
I like
mean,
Taylor
Johnny
Swift
Cash.
on the list just because the way, not just the way she is putting out music and the way she's strutting her stuff on stage, but she is letting every single little girl in the world know that it is okay to be loud and female. And it is
Yep.
okay to be successful and female. And it's okay to be whatever and female. And I love that from Taylor because that has existed in the past too with people like Loretta Lynn and Dolly Parton and all of those things, but nobody has taken it to this level to where she is just incessantly attacked for being who she is, and she just bats it away like a hockey goalie.
Yep.
And so I like the fact that she's teaching all the girls out there that it's okay to be whatever you want and female.
Man, I remember when Teardrops on My Guitar came out, and man, every girl I knew just lost their shit.
Mm-hmm.
So like that, she's been doing that since the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
influencing young girls in a good way.
So I love that, and I know there's going to be a lot of people out there saying, hey, you forgot this person and you forgot that person.
We forgot a shit ton of people.
So we're not trying to forget anybody. We're just kind of spitballing this. So if you do have somebody out there that you think is the most influential or one of the most influential people in the music business, comment down below. We would love to hear your take on that. Where are we wrong? Where are we right? Tell us what you think.
Mm-hmm.
And we will move on to the next topic. And this might be the only one this week that might be a little bit controversial. Actually, it'll be a bit controversial. This is something that came out a few weeks ago. We're going to talk about Harrison Butker. This is going to be our very first, I believe this is our first sports-related topic on the show. I
believe so, because I'm just now like in the game on that.
We're going to talk a little bit about this. In case you are possibly living under a rock, Harrison Butker is the place kicker of the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Much as I hate to admit that, that is actually true. And he recently gave a commencement speech and came under fire for it. I have a lot of things to say about this, but let's read about an article first in the New York Times, which for some reason I seem to have access to, but Kadie doesn't. That's probably
I had it earlier and I just clicked on it. It's like create an account. Yep. No,
that's a skill issue. So Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker said he doesn't have any regrets about his commencement address at Benedictine College earlier this month, saying in his first public comment since the speech that he received, quote, a shocking level of hate, unquote, but also support for his views. Quote, it's a decision I've consciously made and one I do not regret at all, unquote, Butker said Friday night at the Regina Cayley Academy Courage Under Fire Gala in Nashville, Tennessee. Could we add a few more frickin' words to the gala, first of all? Is nobody making frickin' flyers for this event? Because if you're like me and you know about flyers, they frickin' charge by the word. Regina Cayley Academy Courage Under Fire Gala. Anyway. All right. Now it's making me create an account. It doesn't matter. Okay. Hold on. Why are you making me create an account? This is jerkful.
I jinxed it. I'm sorry.
You jinxed me.
I know. I said earlier before we started, I said, let me read this thing while it's letting me read it, because it's not going to let me in a minute. Right? And I was right.
So I think the thing that angered the most people is when he essentially said that women have been told diabolical lies. Yep. So I'm going to give my 2 cents on this. And I know a lot of y'all will probably know where I'm going to go with this. But I may surprise you as well. First of all, I would like to point out that this is a commencement speech at a Catholic college. So the first thing you have to understand is who his audience is. Okay?
Yeah.
The very religious-based audience, and this address is addressed to a religious-based audience. That's the first thing. Okay? And there's a lot of religious rhetoric and things like that in the speech, which is fine with me. For me, I don't necessarily agree with anything he said in this commencement speech. In fact, I've read the commencement speech, and I can't really tell you that there's a single thing in it that I agree with beyond him saying I'm beyond blessed. I might agree with that. I think he is probably beyond blessed. Now, just because I don't agree with what the man thinks or says or whatever doesn't mean I don't agree that he has the right to say whatever he feels, thinks, or whatever. He can say whatever he wants. Mm-hmm. And I respect and understand his right to do so. But we all have the right to agree or disagree with whatever he says. Mm-hmm. My major problem with what he said is he's essentially trying to I guess the right word would be wish cast his perspective on other people. And I don't feel like it is fair for anybody to try to celebrate or not celebrate what somebody else might think or not think. That's just my 2 cents. I don't think it's his perspective. His perspective is of a white, straight, religious male, and that's okay. But what he's trying to do is he's trying to transfer his perspective onto females, and that's where I'm not okay with anything that he said.
It feels, the first thing I thought when I read it, it feels so discrediting. Like, it really does. Like he's at a college. Like, these are successful students. You know what I mean? Like, you're literally telling half the people, like, you're doing this for stupid reasons. Like, you shouldn't even be here, but, like, you should be doing this instead. Like, why are you here? Why did you put all this work into this? Like, I will never, okay, I'm not going to say I'll never, but I will never want to go to college.
Right.
Fun fact, I didn't even get through school. I have my GED. So, for somebody to even, like, be in college and, like, get through it, props to you, my friend. Mm-hmm. And then, like, he's just like, oh, well, I mean, lies.
Well, again, I mean, there's a lot of religious rhetoric in this, about Catholicism, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's essentially what the platform is meant for. He does spend the beginning of or maybe not the beginning, but not too far into the speech, he spends time essentially demonizing the Biden administration, which is okay. Again, that's his opinion, and he's welcome to it. I'm not sure that's the right platform for that, but that whatever. I mean, there are people using their platform to say whatever their political views are and whatever their non-religious views are and things like that, and that's okay. And from what I understand, this speech was okayed by the college first, although they did kind of come out and try to temper expectations or reactions to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, he has a right to say whatever he wants. It's freedom of speech. It's freedom of expression. And we've talked about that on this show. Just because you don't agree with somebody doesn't mean they don't have the right to feel it or say it or whatever he wants to. Kadie and I may not agree with what he has to say and what his views are, but his rights are still the same.
Yeah, all you do is get mad and move on.
That's right. And another thing I did want to talk about a little bit is I am not really a fan of people trying to cancel human beings for their views. And
you go ahead.
Okay. Just because you don't agree with somebody, you shouldn't openly try to cancel that person. I mean, there's a lot of people out there from the left side of the political aisle that are trying to get him fired or trying to do what we've talked about many times on this show, and that's to try to get people to say things for clicks, like, oh, you see these interviews out there with Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and anybody who has anything to do with Harrison Butker, and they're trying to get them to disagree or say something ugly about Harrison Butker just to get clicks, trying to get him fired from the Chiefs, trying to get the NFL to suspend him, and I don't think that's a good look. Not for saying something that you feel, even if you don't agree with it, as long as it's not something that's going to openly hurt somebody. It's not hate speech. It's not anything like that. It's just something you don't agree with. Personally speaking, I agree that being a mother and a wife is a huge honor, and being a father and a husband is a huge honor. But for me, as a straight white male who is a father and a husband, there is no chance on this planet of me ever trying to say something for a woman. Ever. Mm-hmm. Period. I am never, ever going to say, you should feel this way. Because that, in my opinion, is misogynistic.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but it's cause for death in 14 states. No, it's really not. Really not.
It should be. No, I'm kidding.
It is in my house. I can tell you that right now. I'm married to a redhead. She the boss.
Yeah, Jackson can get behind me on that. I look pretty crazy, and I kind of give crazy vibes too. But the term cancel is so bizarre to me. In this instance, it's not okay. Getting them fired, all that stuff's just freaking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when it comes to like social media canceling or like music, like a musician or anything like that canceling, all that really is doing is changing the audience. Literally it. It's not like all of a sudden you just don't have anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all it is.
It's one after another, after another, after another. Both sides are doing it. Both sides are guilty of it. And it's freaking ridiculous, right? I mean, you got people on the left that want to cancel Kid Rock. You got people on the right that want to cancel Dylan Mulvaney. And all in that situation, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. Why?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you don't agree with somebody because of political or religious reasons or any other freaking reason for that matter, keep scrolling. Don't buy it. Don't do it. Don't consume it.
Pissed off at Costco today.
Yeah?
At this freaking Karen, okay? But did I go be like, you need to kick her ass out? No.
Why not?
Same shit, I know. But my mom was holding me back. I was like, I think it's real funny how.
But I mean,
I think it's funny when you're ugly on the inside, you're ugly on the outside too.
Well, I think it's funny that the people on the left say the people on the right are all about cancel culture, and then the people on the right are saying, the people on the left are all about cancel culture. Fact is, both sides are trying to cancel people on the other side. And as long as if it's just somebody that's that's exhibiting their rights, and you're just trying to cancel them because you disagree with them, then that's foolish. It's dumb.
Absolutely
there are people in this country, for example, that are patriotic human beings that want to unalive people on the other side of the aisle, and they're both Americans, bro. Like, we're all Americans. Personally speaking, if you want to unalive somebody else who's also an American just because they don't agree with you, or they're a liberal, or they're a conservative, or whatever, you're not American, in my opinion. You're just, I don't get that. I don't understand that. Like, I'm a veteran. I can't possibly see a reason why I would want another American to be dead, be unalived.
That is absolutely insane to me. My dog just sat in my lap, and this chair is like going down. I'm holding on to the desk right now.
All right. What's your dog's name?
Ozzy, like Osborne.
Yeah, so Ozzy is telling us to move to the next topic, and we're going to do that right now. This is a little less controversial, but for some of you folks out there, maybe not.
See, He can literally sit in my lap, and he weighs 60 more pounds than me.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Dude, damn. Okay.
Send help. All right, so
Real.
we're going to talk about streaming services. Do you have something set up for this, Kadie?
To your questions, yeah.
Oh, you have answers to my questions.
Yes.
All right.
Well, and I mean, I have opinions as well, if you'd like to hear such.
Well, we're going to get into it. So prior to streaming services, we had things called cable and satellite, and before that, we had regular local TV and like rabbit ears and antennas and all of those things. So I guess my first question is, in the evolution of the way we consume media, is this a positive change from the cable and satellite days that you may not even remember?
Um, Man, I remember my box TV, but I was watching Dora. So, um, anyway, so
That's the
I
second
mean,
Dora reference in an episode. Mm-hmm.
a- anyway, I think it's a good thing that we have streaming now because it makes everybody's form of art, whatever that may be, accessible to everyone around the globe.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that.
I mean,
Whether that be like movies, like Netflix, whatever, or music, or like it makes everything so accessible to everywhere on the planet.
I think it's just. I think the only drawback to it is just maybe some confusion.
Yeah.
Like for example, I'll give you an example. Mad About You is a sitcom that I was one of my favorite shows. Um, and like if I want to go back and watch Mad About You, I don't know how I would do so.
Yep.
Right, so I could go to Google, for example, and I could type in streaming Mad About You, and it'll tell me it's available on Sling TV, Apple TV for 99 cents, Philo, Amazon Prime Video for $1.99. But like, there's no way of getting the show for free that I can see.
No.
And so
No.
it would just seem to me that we are at the mercy of whatever people or corporations are
Absolutely.
behind the streaming services. So if
And I
Matt,
will say, right now, Netflix is shit. Get your shit together. Okay?
well,
Because I am at your mercy.
Netflix
Put
is
out some better
okay,
shit.
but I think right now Hulu Disney is the place to be.
I'm about some Hulu. They got all
Yeah.
my cartoons.
Yep,
They
I
got
think they're
Futurama
killing
for
it
the
right
backyard.
now.
They got everything on my cartoons. And
So
they got Adventure Time. Oh my god, Adventure Time. Anyway.
the one thing I hated about Hulu until recently, when I finally got ad free, is like the difference in volume between the show and the ad.
Me and my mom were talking about that last night. She said, "Man, these commercials are so loud. Why are they so loud?"
Yeah, I'm
I was like,
telling you,
"Well,
man, when you're using this shit to sleep to, by God, whew, like you're
buy the new
listening.
Ford F-150."
Yeah, right? And they're screaming it at you. Oh my God. So, how do you feel about there being so many different platforms?
It pisses me off. I get it. Everybody's gonna make their money, and everything is different. So I will give you that. But at the same time, like it's so chaotic.
Mhm.
Like, cause like you're like, oh, I want to have Netflix because I watch Orange Is New Black, for example. I want to have Hulu because I watch Adventure Time. I
Mhm.
want to have Prime because it has Fallout. Isn't it Fallout?
Yep.
It's on Prime.
Yep.
Yeah. So like we have all these things, and like you gotta pay for all of them monthly,
Yep.
and it's
Which
not
is
cheap.
why it's funny, because I think we're going to end up reverting back to a cable formula where a lot of these things are going to be bundling. Like I heard a rumor recently that Netflix and maybe Apple, and I forget which ones, were talking about bundling together. Like
Probably.
right now, there's a Hulu Disney bundle, which also you can get stars and other things as part of that.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's going to end up happening. Sadly, I think we're going to end up eventually with like a Pangea of all of these
I,
platforms under one umbrella.
let's just. Why don't we just have both? Like you gotta have direct TV, but why can't we just have like TV,
I
like
mean,
regular
wouldn't it be
TV?
cool if we if let's say the platform like YouTube TV, which
Mhm.
is what I use
Yeah.
for like cable. But imagine if we had like some kind of platform where if you bought into the platform, all of these other streaming services are given to you at a reduced rate if you bundle them all into the platform that you've signed up to. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Call it whatever you want. I just used a word called Pangea, which you probably may not know what that is, but back when the Earth was a wee lad, all of the continents were one continent, and it was called Pangea.
And then they all went. Eh.
Why isn't somebody creating a service called Pangea and then just get everybody on board? Netflix, Peacock, Paramount, Apple TV, Hulu, Disney, get them all in and maybe send over, a reduced rate for your platform. Maybe you don't even maybe they don't get access to all of the stuff on the platform, but maybe it's like
The
60% or
the
whatever.
biggest problem is every company is so competitive, which I mean, rightfully so. The only one I feel like has a leg up is Disney Plus, and it's because it is Disney. That is what it is, and they have extra shit too. But
Mm-hmm.
they have all Disney stuff. Like
And
there's no
Marvel, all
Disney.
the Marvel stuff is on Disney.
Exactly.
Yep.
I feel like that's a little niche. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like I feel like that right there is the upper leg. But
Yeah.
the others, like they're in constant competition.
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so. I mean,
Which ones do you have? What do you have access to?
Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. We have Apple TV with our new phones for like 3 months.
See, this is crazy.
Yep. I I have Peacock TV with my Amazon TV.
See, see, for
Uh
us, we have Max, we have Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Peacock. And we've also had
we
Paramount and
might have I
Apple.
think we have Peacock.
I only have Peacock for WWE, and I like true crime stuff, and they're really good at true crime. So,
Yeah.
anyway, that's our streaming services. I know everybody out there is waiting with bated breath for us to play our game of the week, and we started this last week, and we're gonna see if I get lucky again and Katie gets unlucky again. The way this works is we have a spinning wheel, and we're going to spin the wheel 3 times. Again, Katie cannot see us do this. But we're going to spin the wheel the first
Nope.
time. The first time I spin it, you guys out there will see it. It'll be either me or Katie that it picks. Second time I spin the wheel, it will pick one of the 5 games. And then the third time I spin the wheel, it will pick the topic or topics that we have to talk about. And this is fun. Let's get into it. So here is my wheel. Let me make sure this looks good out there. It does. Let me get rid of the ad. All right, so we're going to spin this the first time. It's going to pick either me or Katie. Here we go. Who does it pick? Okay, it picked me this time. Interesting. God dang it.
Okay.
I
I was
I'm
like, it's gonna pick me.
I'm already contesting this. I don't like this at all. All right, so the 5 games on the wheel are Don't Get Me Started, Think About It, World's Greatest Expert, Illuminati, and Ah Yes. Here we go. We're going to spin it. And this week we are playing World's Greatest Expert again.
Again.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes, that's right.
I liked that one. But I like to bullshit and I think I'm a know it all, so that one was fun for me.
All right, now we're going to pick the topic. Now, last week we got to hear an interesting story about spoons because Katie Lynn is the world's greatest expert at spoons.
And
But
soup.
and soup, apparently. And divotless spoons as well. I am the world's greatest expert at dinosaurs. Okay.
Hey.
So the way the game works is like this. I'm going to tell you guys the rules as I set this back up so you guys can see both of us. The rules of World's Greatest Expert is whoever is the world's greatest expert has to give a false lecture about the topic, which this time is dinosaurs, while the other host asks questions.
I'm full of them. Let's go, baby.
So I'm going to tell you a story about a real life dinosaur, and this being Pride Month, it's actually rather apt. Now, this is an actual, it's a lesbian dinosaur that we're going to be talking about today.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind?
I will tell you the name of the dinosaur later in the lecture. But this dinosaur only existed during the Triassic period. And the reason why they were lesbians is because it was impossible for male dinosaurs to be inserted into eggs back in those days. So this dinosaur, again, this was a lesbian dinosaur. When they gave birth in eggs, they only gave birth to females.
Huh.
So they were kind of forced to be lesbians. Okay, and what they did in order to you're probably wondering, how did they fertilize the eggs?
The cycle, bro.
Yeah, so you got to have fertilization of the eggs, and so it's a very, 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 very cool process. So what they had to do is they had like these plants back in those days that only grew in the Triassic period. They were called trampolinas. Okay, and so what these dinosaurs had to do is they had to jump on the trampolinas, and they had to get enough height to where there was fertilization in a certain tree that only grew in Jamaica.
Okay.
And lucky for these dinosaurs, yes, that's right. That's where the model for trampolines came from. But I'm not the world's greatest expert on trampolines, only on dinosaurs. So these dinosaurs, they would swim to Jamaica and find these rare plants called trampolinas, and they would jump into the trees, and that's how they fertilized their eggs. Do you know the name of this dinosaur, Katie?
That has to jump? Probably not.
The only lesbian dinosaur known to man.
I mean,
we're talking about the Lickalotopus, of course. The Lickalotopus.
Not me, because I'm not fully.
So that's right, the Lickalotopus. They would swim over to Jamaica, and they would be looking for trampolinas. Okay, and then there was another dinosaur, right, that was extremely nearsighted. And so this dinosaur also only lived in Jamaica. So when this dinosaur, they would be waiting with bated breath for the Lickalotopus to come, right? And do you know what the name of the nearsighted dinosaur is? No? Do you think he saw us?
I swear to God, you had this shit planned. I can't say nothing.
I did not. I see you guys saw the spinning out there. We were talking about two real dinosaurs, the Lickalotopus and the Do You Think He Saw Us?
Now we're going to go into the Illuminati.
No, that's not true, because the interesting thing about the Do You Think He Saw Us? The Do You Think He Saw Us? They were the only dinosaur ever to actually have pets. It's true. Okay. You can look this up. In fact, they're the only dinosaur that would keep a dog as a pet, and they were always called Do You Think He Saw Us Rex.
I'm just looking at me like, Mom, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, we just had a dinosaur in the thing right there. So that's the game of the week. Do You Think He Saw Us Rex and the Lickalotopus?
And that's where seeing eye dogs came from too, huh?
That's true. That's true. And now they're called service animals.
This one's one.
Oh, perfect. I mean, that's
cute boy.
Yeah, you could ride him as a horse through Brookshire.
No, he sits in my lap.
So we're an hour and 19 minutes into the show. I appreciate everybody who's still tuning in out there. You guys are absolute legends. If you're listening on Canyon Lake Community Radio, thank you guys for tuning in. This might be our first time talking to y'all. If you are watching or listening on Canyon Lake, thank you guys for tuning in. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify. The Chris and Kadie Show. Thank you for tuning in wherever you are. Our main event topic this week is going to be a lot of fun to discuss. It shouldn't take us as long as our last two reviews, but we are talking about the brand new Willie Nelson album, which is called The Border. And The Border is Willie Nelson's 152nd studio album.
That's nuts. Nuts.
Absolutely crazy to even think about that. Like, the man is, 91 years old. Can we try to figure out how much of that 91 years was spent in the studio?
I don't even care about that. I want to know how long he has spent with a pen and paper or pencil and paper. That's what I want to know.
I can't even imagine. Now, this, his last album before this one was called Bluegrass, which was a phenomenal record, by the way. And that was an obvious ode to Kentucky. This one has taken a sharp right and has led us to Texas. And this album is firmly planted in the state of Texas, which, of course, is Willie's home state. Now, for me personally, I've seen a lot of criticism over his voice not being what it once was in this record.
They can shut the hell up. Anyway,
can we try to remember? He's 91. If you're criticizing a 91-year-old man for singing,
you know what? And if you don't like his voice, really, it's storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And man, I can't wait to get into these songs. I've been listening to this record all week, and it's all right. So Kadie and I have talked about Taylor Swift. We've talked about Billie Eilish. We've talked about other records for East Texas artists like Heather Little and Nick Brumley and Blacktop Mojo. We've talked about Post Prophet. Talked about Walter Lee, and we have been honest to a fault when it comes to these songs. If we like it, we'll tell you. If we don't like it, we'll tell you. Personally speaking, there is not a single song on this record I dislike.
I agree.
I don't know about you.
I love all of it. I really do. It's hard not to with Willie, but man, it's like I said, it's storytelling and it's all stories, and it's a nonstop book I could listen to forever. You know what I mean?
And the first song is the title track of the record. It is called The Border. And this song is an old-fashioned ballad. Now, you remember back in the day, this is way before both of our times.
I was about to say I don't, but
way before both of our times, there was a man named Marty Robbins. And Marty Robbins, he was the king of the gunfighter ballad. And this song reminds me of that style of ballad. This song was written by Rodney Crowell and Alan Shamlin. In fact, the song was recorded first by Rodney Crowell. And this is actually a cover song by Willie. That's right, a cover song. The ballad is of a border control agent. The song starts with a war, which I find very interesting. We start with one of the first lyrics on the album or on the song is "There's a price on every border patrol," talking about the fact that there is a price on the head of all of those folks that keep us safe. But it also ends with empathy. And this lyric really grabs me with how much truth is in it. From the shacks and the shanties come the hungry and poor, some to drown at the crossing, some to suffer no more.
I loved it, man. I looked up all these lyrics to every single song, and I'm not like you need to. You can understand every word he says, but this whole album is just Willie Nelson is never gonna die ever.
He better not. He better not.
If this is his last work that he ever say he just stops doing music or like stops recording, this is a good way to end.
And there's definitely a song on here that I want to talk about
Yeah.
with that very thought in mind, but we're not there yet. The second song on the album is the first Willie Nelson Buddy Cannon collab. It's called Once Upon a Yesterday. Now, if you're not familiar, man, Willie Nelson and Buddy Cannon have been writing songs together for, I mean, way before Kadie and I ever existed. So that is a collab that is at least probably 50 years in the making. Buddy Cannon is an absolute legend when it comes to songwriting. Same as Willie. Same as a couple of other folks that wrote songs on this record as well. And I want to give them their props because if you get a song picked by Willie frickin' Nelson for his record, you bet your ass I'm going to be talking about that because that is a huge accomplishment.
Insane accomplishment.
So anyway, this song right here, it just had me daydreaming, man. Like it's just like
me too.
Yeah, the vibes in it. It's like
as soon as he says the first few words "Once upon a yesterday," man, you just get lost. You
and
do. It gave me chills thinking about it.
Mhm.
Like I was driving while I was listening, and this song came on. I was like, oh, it has a really really good nostalgic feeling. It does really well of that.
And that's what it's all about with this song. It's really Willie recounting the years, the things that he's done, the things that he's proud of. I love it. We were children working hard at play. Tomorrow was a world away. Time was standing still. The magic of the radio taught us songs we didn't know. We sang them loud and we sang them low. Once upon a yesterday. He's talking about Kitty Wells and Roy Rogers and Hank Williams. He talks about words swirling in his mind, melodies that fit the rhyme. Like it's just it's a voyage through Willie Nelson's time on the planet, in my opinion. And it's such a short song, really, to try to wrap up all of that man's memories. But man, it hits the spot, you know.
It really does. I'm always gonna want more, especially when it's a shorter song. But I think it's well put.
But I love that song again because it just like I found myself wanting to go to sleep, like just sit there and listen and reminisce and feel the old times and think about the things of yesteryear. And the older you get, the more I feel like the more you have to make time for that. You know. You may not understand that quite yet, but I am beginning to, for sure.
Well, I love getting nostalgic and just I'm that kind of person. I love thinking about the past. I really do. All the bad, all the good. It's something good to learn from, and there's no harm looking back on it. Just don't.
Yep.
That's all.
Track number 3 is a song called "What If I'm Out of My Mind." I love this song so much.
I love it.
Second of 4 on the record between Willie and Buddy Cannon. This is also the first upbeat song on the record. It's I like this record because it's pretty clear to me as a listener that the focal point of this song was the piano and the steel guitar, which are masterful in this song. And then you start listening to the lyrics. Now, for me, I feel like there's extra gravel in his voice for this song. I don't know if it's because it was difficult for him to sing the up tempo version or whatever.
I don't know if it's necessarily that because he did the other one pretty good, but I think it maybe just could be a stylistic thing.
Could be. I mean, you might be right.
It sounds like it to me, but
No, I did start to laugh a little bit in this song because he's singing about being in love and being crazy in love, and somehow him being 91 years old and hearing that come out of his voice did not creep me out. But I was thinking about it. You know what? This should be creeping me out, and I started to get a little chuckle about that. Like this man is 91 years old.
Sing about love, but I mean, it's just he is just okay. Know him or not, I had the beautiful opportunity of seeing him in concert in 2017.
Nice.
And man, I'll never forget that.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I got to see David Allan Coe too, but that's a different story. But I everything about that man just like mystifies me. And
Nice.
I'm not huge on country. Sorry, everybody, for the disappointment. But man, there's something about Willie. And even
I
if you don't
mean,
know him,
Willie
he's
Nelson
just such.
he transcends genre anyway. To be fair,
Yeah, he transcends like everything.
I
Like
agree.
you can't. Willie Nelson and Snoop Dogg, you cannot hate them. There's no
it's
way.
it's
Like
true.
what?
It's true. All right, let's see here. Fourth song on the record, and this one was co-written by a friend of mine, somebody that I
This one's
know.
my favorite.
Okay, awesome. So this one is called "I Wrote This Song for You." This is written by Larry Cordy and Erin Enderlin. Now, Erin Enderlin is a former guest on my podcast. I've actually interviewed her. She's
That's
a
really cool.
phenomenal writer. Probably most well known for writing the song "Monday Morning Church" by Alan Jackson. She's written a ton of great songs. She's done co-writes with Heather Little. She's done co-writes with Kayla Ray and a bunch of other folks. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal songwriter. And I personally really, really hope they choose this song for a single, just because I want to see her succeed more.
Yeah.
But
I love it. I mean, this is another one that gives the same thing as like Once Upon Yesterday. Like it gives you that just like warm, fuzzy feeling. Not necessarily fuzzy, but like you're being wrapped in a blanket. Like
mhm.
whether however you take this song, whether it's in a good way or a sad way, I feel like both are pretty like
And
it can
funny
go
you
kind of
say that
either.
because I think of all the songs on the record, I think this is the one that really showcases Willie's ability to make you feel.
Yeah,
Now he does
I
that
agree.
throughout the record, but I think this song in particular is the one where that really shines through. Like you
Yeah.
said, you can feel happy, you can feel sad, you can. There's all kinds of ways you
It
can. Just depends on
it's
what your
comforting.
situation is. Yes.
It brings for me, it brings a comforting like blanket around you when
Hmm.
you're crying, or
Yep.
whatever. And it feels like that nostalgic feeling too.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's
And
his voice bringing it or if it's
speaking
the
from
storytelling.
experience, Aaron Enderlin is absolutely masterful in telling a story with pen. And then you
Yeah.
bring Willie's absolute
Voice.
grace and vocals and know-how in
Mhm.
how to deliver a lyric. Man, and like I said earlier, to have a song chosen by Willie
By
Nelson,
Willie freaking
one of
Nelson.
the best songwriters of this or any other generation, to have him choose your song for his record when he could have chosen one of his own says a
Mhm.
whole hell of a lot.
Absolutely.
Fifth song on the
Absolutely.
record is called "Kiss Me When You're Through," and
I like this one too.
this is the third of four Willie Buddy Cannon collabs. And I think this is my favorite of the four that they wrote for
I
this
like it
one.
a lot.
Which is funny for me because I'm not a huge fan of the harmonica, and that's really heavily showcased in this song.
It did.
And the Latin guitar, which I am a fan of, I like that quite a bit.
It caught me off guard when I started. I was like, "What?"
And all the songs on the record, I think this is probably the one that is the most timeless of all the songs
Yeah,
on the record.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, I think this is the one that 50 years from now, people will be listening to it and still digging it, still understanding it because um, I was just talking to Joe Doyle for an
Hmm.
interview, which is not out yet. Yeah, it's not out yet, and we talked about the relevancy of a song and making sure that when you write a song, that the most people can feel some kind of connection to the song.
Hmm.
And of all the songs on this record, I think this is the one that will connect to the most people.
Yeah,
Typically, that usually means it will not be a single.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Unfortunately,
it's a song
I
about
like this one a
longing.
lot. I really do like this one a lot. It gives a different feeling than the rest, but I don't necessarily I don't. It's a weird kind of vibe this one gives you, and that's in a good way. But I love it. I love it so much. The music, his voice, everything, the lyrics, all of it.
Yeah, it's just like we said at the beginning of the review. There is literally not a bad song on this record,
Correct.
and it's Willie Nelson, and that's the way it should be. Next song on the list is "Many a Long and Lonesome Highway." Again, another Rodney Crowell co-write. But here I'm gonna give some flowers to somebody who is not as well known as he should be. Um, So yeah, I'm talking about, of course, a guy by the name of Will Jennings. Now, if you're a songwriter nerd, you know who Will Jennings is. But if you're not, then you're fitting to, because again, this is I want this to be as educational as possible. Now, if you are from the small town of Kilgore, Texas, perhaps you don't even know who Will Jennings is. But Will Jennings is from the town of Kilgore, and he wrote a couple of small time songs, like Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton. He wrote the lyrics for My Heart Will Go On, which is, of course, one of the most well known songs ever. And he and Rodney Crowell are the co writers on this Many a Long and Lonesome Highway from Willie Nelson.
This song, it just gives me chills.
And this is the one I was talking about earlier, where you said, if this is the last record that Willie does, for whatever reason, whether it's because he wants to stop or, God forbid, something worse, this song right here is the one that we will hopefully all remember, because this feels like the story from a man who wants the world to know.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It feels like a farewell to the world. It's got the sage advice in there that Willie likes to sprinkle throughout his music. It's got remembrances. I think my favorite lyric in the song is, "Every night's a new beginning. Every day the world keeps spinning. Sometimes it's hard to stand upon, I know."
Again, his voice and his storytelling, this song, I mean, it gave me chills. Like, I listened to it a couple times, like, over and over. I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Same.
I really hope it's not foretelling by any means, but I I can't think, like, being in his shoes at his age, sitting down and writing this song. I can't imagine that kind of feeling.
Well, he didn't write this song, though. Let's keep that in mind.
I meant sing it. Like, sitting down and, like, singing it and recording it. I mean,
I'll tell you the truth. If I had the opportunity ever to interview Willie Nelson, it would never happen. That's the holy grail, right? But if I had the opportunity, this is the song I would want to talk to him about the most.
Absolutely.
And it's not written by him, but I would love to hear why he chose this song. I would love to hear how he feels about it.
It really feels like it's written for him.
Yeah.
It just does.
It's funny because there is a song on the record called "I Wrote This Song for You." All right, next song on the record, we got Hank's Guitar. Now, this one was the closest one for me to dislike. I don't dislike the song, but if I had to choose one, if somebody said to me, you have to not like one song on the record, this would be the closest one. And I'll tell you why. I'm not a big fan of scenarios that would never happen.
Yep.
But I'm also impressed by the song because it's an interesting scenario. And so this song was written by Buddy Cannon, but not Willie Nelson. The co-write on this was Bobby Tomberlin, who, again, if you're a songwriting nerd, oh man, there's just so many good songwriters on this record, not named Willie Nelson. Bobby Tomberlin, a little bit of a background on him because I promised that to you guys as part of this episode. Bobby Tomberlin was actually discovered by Mel Tillis. See what I did there? No.
That's not nice.
So I would say it was probably not. I would say his biggest hit was "One More Day" by Diamond Rio. If you remember that song. He also wrote "Someday It All Makes Sense," which was a Grammy-nominated duet between Dolly
Yep.
Parton and Whisper and Bill Anderson. A lot of other songs that he wrote out there. Just some of the credits that man has is incredible, and he's still a young guy. To be honest with
Mhm.
you, I mean, he's not super old, but
I get why you say that. I will say once you have the general idea, not that the lyrics are low hanging fruit,
not at all.
but it seems like once you come up with the idea, like the I had a dream I was Hank's guitar, like the
Mhm.
other lyrics just like fall on the paper. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, the song it progresses well. I like the song. I like
Absolutely.
the lyrics. It's just again,
It doesn't feel like it equates.
if I had to choose, this would be the one that I would choose. Um, I just think it's my least favorite song on the record, but I like the song. I mean, I really like the song. It's a great
I
tune.
think that's my problem is that I don't feel like it equates to the rest. It is a great song. It's just
Yeah,
out of everything, like everything I've this album, I feel like we talked about, Taylor Swift being, like changing the world and Billie Eilish. This album, I mean, unfortunately, with his age, I feel like it'll go unseen by a lot of people. But this album, I mean, should be known by everybody. It
absolutely.
really should.
Just a little bit about the song before we go to the next one, which also has some crazy songwriters on it. Golly. But yeah, Willie takes us through a dream where he is the guitar of Hank Williams. And
Mhm.
it is absolutely the absolute countryest of country songs. You got it when you listen to the song. The first thing you're gonna say is, "Damn, that's country." It's as usual. It's masterful storytelling by a legend. At that, it's and the thing that I really the note I made was, to me, it is absolutely crazy and amazing the skill that is needed to get someone invested in a song that is basically about a nonsense scenario. And I don't say that with disrespect. It's a dream. It's a dream where you're essentially the guitar and you're making up metaphors and similes and stuff like that, and yet you still get invested in it. I
Yep.
mean, that's incredibly talented. Um,
Absolutely, I agree.
Next song is number 8. It's called "Made in Texas."
I love the music.
Now, of course you do. You're made in Texas.
Hey, calm it down on that.
This right here is an ode to Bob Wills. It's an ode to Texas swing. It is an ode to Texas in general. This song right here is Texan through and through, and that's obviously what is meant by this entire record, is to
Yeah.
showcase Willie's home state. This here talks about old guitars, Bob Wills, the San Antonio Rose, dance halls, Lone Star beer, Stetson hats, Ernest Tubb, um, and all of those things are unapologetically Texan, including Willie Nelson. Song was written by Sean Camp and Monty Holmes. Golly,
So
man.
I I like this one a lot too. I feel like what he has so much to say. I feel like it does such a good job of capturing Texas. I really do. And it's fun. It's got that swing in it. Like you put, I just stole those words straight out of your document. No,
She's
but it's
stealing
for
my
real.
stuff.
It kind of gives me like deep in the heart of Texas
Yep.
kind of vibes.
Texas Anthem. And that's
Yes.
exactly what I wrote in the doc. Absolutely. So many people out there have tried for the Texas Anthem and failed. This one does not fail. A little bit of background on Sean Camp. He is known probably best for Two Pina Coladas by Garth Brooks. I do believe, I could be wrong, and maybe you guys can correct me if I am, but I thought he had writing credits on. No, I would be wrong. I'm not going to say that. Okay. And of course, the other co writer on this song is Monty Holmes. And Monty Holmes wrote so many frickin' songs for George Strait that I can't even tell you, including Troubadour, by the way.
Oh.
This is, let's see here. What I like about this song for me is like a lot of times when I'm listening to a song for the first time, I'll just close my eyes and
Mhm.
start just seeing what I see. And for me, I felt like I was on a dance floor. You know,
Yeah.
like I could feel it, I could hear it, I could smell it. Like the dance floor has a certain smell to it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You know, and that's what this song took me back to. And of
Yeah.
course, you know, my father-in-law was into Texas swing. He was a steel player, and so played with Bob Wills and things like that. So yeah, that's
I
that's.
remember country dancing.
Oh yeah, back when you were country,
Yeah.
you damn sure still
Charmin.
sound country.
I know.
All right, so the next one is number 9, and this is my favorite song on the record. I know that yours
This
was.
is it's close,
So this one is called
but
Nobody Knows Me Like You, written by a man by the name of Mike Reed. Again, another very interesting individual. Mike Reed used to play in the NFL for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, when you're talking about songwriting, you don't normally think of a football player, but this is a true story. Former
that's
professional
supposed to
football
be two
player.
different sides of your brain.
Exactly right. Mike Reed is probably most well known for songs like Stranger in My House by Ronnie Millsap. He also wrote I Can't Make You Love Me by Bonnie Raitt.
Turn down the light. Yeah.
hmm Now, this is from the perspective of someone who knows that they don't deserve their partner. It talks about regrets. And the line in this song that really makes me feel it with every fiber of my being is, but something only you can see saves the broken fool in me with a love that's known to very few.
I
I
will say
literally live that lyric every single day of my marriage, every day.
I was driving and I just had the whole album playing. And when I heard that line, I immediately was like I heard that line just popped out to me out of the whole song. Like, and I was like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's just,
You said I didn't read ahead. I like to hear what you have to say. But I saw that quote and I was like, man, I think that's the one that I was like, because I remember the broken fool in me. And because
mm,
it's not I teach this to my students with different things, but the first part, but something only you can see saves the broken fool in me. That's amazing. But when you add with a love that's known to very few, that gives the whole phrase such a not a new meaning, but such a more meaningful
mm.
like description of it. And that right there,
It slams it
that
home. It slams it home.
exactly.
Yeah.
That tiny little difference, just adding those last few words, man, it really it does.
This song, man, it's just so good. It's so good. Because, and the only thing that worries me about this song is we
Mhm.
talked about relevancy earlier.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the love that he's talking about, which again, he says it's known to very few, unfortunately is very true. The
Mhm.
marriage that I have with my wife, it took me damn near all my life to finally find it.
Mhm.
And so when you are in that situation, you know it. Believe me, you
Yeah.
know it. And yeah, I think we're both lucky in that aspect. We both know it. And I don't know about you, but I know I don't deserve what I have. And so every single day I strive to try to deserve
Yeah.
it more and more and more. And I just don't ever
Yeah.
feel like I'd live up to that bar, you know? And
Yeah.
that's not a bad thing at all.
Not at all. That means you're constantly working on you and your relationship.
Exactly right. And that's why I love this song, because for those of us that have been lucky and blessed enough to find that love, this song, man, it's powerful. Because you're like you and me, we are living this song every day. And that's
Mhm.
a very lucky place to be,
Yeah.
for sure. And that's the only thing I'm worried about, relevancy. People
Yeah.
that don't have this kind of relationship are not going to get this song. But at the
Right.
same time, they're going to long for this song. So maybe that's a
Mm.
good thing. The longing
Maybe
for it,
so.
you know?
Maybe so.
Last song on the record. This is also the last Willie Nelson Buddy Cannon collab on the record. And this is so funny to me because we're all creative people. This song's called How Much Does It Cost? And it literally talks about the pains of being a songwriter.
Yep.
It's so
I
funny
love
to
it.
me. Because there is some funny lyrics in here.
Hmm.
But you don't know exactly where he's going at first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
song.
When it started, I thought it was going to be like a super depressing song.
Me too. But then he
You
starts
know?
making jokes and shit, and I'm just like, wait a minute, what? Um, that's not the right song. Hold on a second. I don't know why it's giving me that song. That's so weird. There it is.
Boom. There it is.
But yeah, it starts off where it sounds like he's talking about an old relationship, and he's not. He's talking about he's talking about how much does it cost to be free from the heartache still living in me, and you're just like, wait a minute. All right, we're talking about a lost love song. This is a country song.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, here's another one that's gonna be like tied with my favorite because
Depressing and all that. Yep.
I'm a big sucker on depressing songs.
Oh, but it's not. It's so funny
Yep.
where he goes. Again, he says, I've given my heart, my soul, and my mind. You're still on the same track. Oh my God, he's broken up. His wife left him. His love died. Something happened really bad. How can I pay up and quit doing time? We're still on the same track. It could still mean relationship. And why am I always trying to make it all rhyme? Wait, what?
I know, I heard that and I was like, wait, what? I was like, if that's a metaphor, that's not really a great one.
Because I'm a songwriter and always will be. But how much does it cost to be free?
Mm-hmm.
So, an interesting perspective into the mind of a songwriter who is always taking in inspiration, is always feeling something, always looking for the next hook, always looking for the next heartache, the next soul, the next heart, the next mind, the next whatever. And really kind of showcases a different side to that creative process. The possibility of it being a detriment.
Yeah. I mean, look at Taylor Swift. No, I mean, no offense, but usually, you sit down to write songs as therapy a lot of times, unless it's just like what you do for a living. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times it comes from those awful points in your life or a shitty breakup or stuff like that. That's usually where, well, personally, and I know a lot of people are like that too.
So now the bridge
uh,
in this song is a Woody Guthrie reference for you younger folks out there that might be tuning in. He says, Old Woody said, how much does all of this cost? I'll pay for it all. What the heck? And oh, by the way, take a check. So I believe this song, if I could ask him, I'd be willing to bet this whole song revolved around that bridge. I bet you they had the bridge first. And the
Probably.
reason why I think that is because literally the same verse is repeated 3 times in the song. Which
I like it.
ordinarily, if I heard a song and I heard the same verse 3 times, I
You're
would
like,
be
ugh.
I would be screaming lazy at the top of my lungs if it was anybody but Willie Nelson. But it makes
Yeah.
me believe that bridge there about Woody Guthrie is where this song came from. And the message in the 3 verses that are the same is probably the most important message in the song.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's why it's repeated, I feel.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I hate. Like a lot of artists like will repeat something just because it's catchy or because they don't have anything else. But when it's like the thing that makes a statement, like what makes a song,
Mhm.
repeat it. And I feel like that's done really well in this
And
song.
it's funny with this one too because it's the last song on the record too. Because so,
Yeah.
as a consumer or listener, you could actually foresee that being a thing. Oh my gosh, we have 9 songs, we need a 10th.
Yeah.
Well, let's just slap something together. Like normally,
There you go.
you could look at this song and see it as that, but I feel like it's more than that. And if it was
I
slapped
agree.
together, wow, great job. Like, seriously, because...
Shit, can I slap a song like that together?
Please do. Could you send me one of those? Hell, I'll learn how to play guitar.
Send me a slap.
Yeah, right? So,
That's all
Katie
I
Lynn,
need.
if you could cover one song on this record in your show, which one would it be?
Let me scroll back through the titles. Man,
I put her on the
I
spot.
as much as I love Many a Long and Lonesome Highway, it's not for me. It's not from the voice of Katie, the youngin, or whatever. But man, I do love that. I mean, I wrote the song for you. I keep coming back to that one. I love that one so much. And I mean, but honestly, I'm a big nostalgic kind of person. Once Upon a Yesterday, man, I don't know. All the above. Shit.
I don't know. I'm not sure I could believe a story about a border agent from you, Katie. So I think we should.
No,
I mean, we could possibly make it work. So,
probably not.
in closing, I would say Willie Nelson's 152nd record before his 92nd birthday
Super
ultimately
success.
will be ultimately a super success. I completely agree. Absolutely awesome, awesome record.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what kind of triggers me a little bit about anything Willie. I hate when people say for his age. Oh, he's a
It's
great writer for his age. Oh, he's a good singer for his age. No,
singer that's maybe taken in a different context, and it's not for his age. It's just his beautiful voice got a little old. That's
that's
it.
right. Man, I'll tell
But
you what, I hope
songwriting,
I mean
that shit don't change.
I'm hoping I'm still making syllables at 97. I doubt I will be, or 91. I guess he's 91.
I'll be in the grave going.
You better not be making noises in the grave. Jesus Christ.
That's all I'll have at effing 92. Right in the grave.
So this has been another episode of the Chris and Katie Show, and this one was a lot of fun.
Yep,
What plans
sure
do you
will.
have? What plans do you have coming up in the next week?
I've show
Really?
on the 8th, so that
Yeah, this will
we're
be
on
out.
time.
Yeah, this will be out after that.
Shit.
You got to be better prepared with these shows, so that way we can actually
I
promote
know.
them.
Well, I don't know how weeks work, so I get confused with my days and like when this releases and like when. Okay. Anyway, so I I'm go check out my website. It has all of my dates and my everything. It's katielynn.com.
KatieLynn.com. And
Anyway,
that's Katie with a D, by the way. It's right under her name over there. Look
KADIELYN.
under her name, right over there. It's right over there underneath her. Katie at
There.
Katie Robertson. Robertson.
You.
Is it Robertson or Robertson?
It's Robertson, but I'm never gonna correct anybody. I got a jank name, so
You don't have a jank name. Get the hell out of here. Not a
it's
jank
spelled weird.
name. I don't think so. Your first name is more jank than your last name.
Well, it's Roberts. It's Robertson, just without the T, so Robertson.
Yeah.
Little jank.
A
We don't
little,
like T's in this name.
little
I don't
story.
like no
I'll
T.
give you kind of a funny story to end the show. When I first met Charlie Robison,
Okay.
I called him Robeson because I
Like
was.
Robitussin.
Let me tell you something. I was nervous AF. I wasn't expecting to like get a chance to talk with him. We were at Love and War in Lindale when there was a Love and War in Lindale, and we went there and we just went to the show. I was just gonna film some songs and stuff like that, and I was talking with the band outside. I smoked at the time, so every time I would go outside, the drummer and the bassist would be out there smoking. And so they were asking me who I was and what I did, and I was telling them about the podcast and all of the other stuff that we did with the award show and stuff. And the next thing you know, after the show, I'm literally standing in front of a half inebriated Charlie Robinson in his bus, like half frickin' dressed, and I am literally shaking like a leaf with nerves, right? Like this is like holy fuck. And so, and again, he's not entirely sober either, right? So,
Yeah.
and he's coming down off that post show high as well, And I butchered his fucking name. And he just looked at me and he was like, "Really? Really, dude?" And I was like, "Oh shit." And so then I was like, I didn't know if he was being aggressive or not, you know what I mean? Afterwards, and the drummer was like, "Nah, he was just fucking with you." I was like, I didn't feel like he was just fucking with me. I felt horrible. Felt horrible.
Yeah. That's some shit you don't forget either.
But the good news, well, he did. I mean, the second time we met, he told me I was just fucking with you, but it's fine. But I never fucked up his name again.
Know that.
Yep, not one time.
Yeah, so put some respect on my name. No, I'm kidding.
But so that's why when I see your name, I'm like, is it Robertson or Roberson? Robitussin?
I have gotten called so many different things over the years, so.
So yours is Robertson? Okay.
Yeah.
Easy enough. Whereas his is Robeson, I believe. Charlie Robeson. God damn it. I don't know now. Shit. God rest his soul. Awesome songwriter, awesome performer, Texas legend. Sorry I fucked up your name. His brother's a fantastic writer too, by the way. Just for the record.
Yeah.
Episode 6 is in the books. We are done. If you guys didn't know, we are taking sponsors. We have a sponsors welcome thing under Katie's name over there. And so if you are interested in being a sponsor for the show, you can be a sponsor for one episode or all episodes. Just email us at the Chris and Katie Show, all one word, at gmail.com. And I will send you out some info on how to become a sponsor and why it's a really cool thing to do. If you don't want to become a sponsor, you can certainly support the show if you're on YouTube. Click the join button down below. It's $2.99 a month, and I'll give you a few things. I'll tell you a few things that unlocks for you. First of all, you will get access to every single stream replay that I ever have. I stream frequently on Twitch, and our stream replays go to YouTube for members only. So if you can't catch me live, then you can catch me on replay as a member. Membership also unlocks all of my content early. So basically what that means is every single Friday I upload a week's worth of content in advance. So if you're a member, you get access to everything I upload right then and there. For example, I will upload this episode on June 7th, but it will not release for everybody else until June 14th. So support the channel, $2.99. You get early access to all of these shows, this one included. I also have a new podcast coming up called 10 Minutes with Boston Chris. It's going to be pretty freaking cool. It's going to be dope. So you guys make sure you're becoming a member, and again, you will get cool badges and emotes and all that stuff that you can use when you comment on our stuff. It reminds me, comment down below, like the video, ring the bell to be notified, and me and Katie will see you next week on episode 7.
C'est bon.
Be good.